versatile communities and networking with all the intellectual minds can bring us incredible opportunities and which can also enhance our horizons in multiple ways. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Muni Vinay for coming forward to share his expertise on the data science and the career opportunities related to data science. I also want to mention that we are not only limited to technology, but we can also soon expect other initiatives related to education, women empowerment, and entrepreneurship to cater to the needs of the from all walks of life. As you all know, we have launched this STS Connects in the honorable presence of Mr. Piyush Gupta, the CEO of DBS Group. After the grand launch, we have received a tremendous response, and, and a big thanks to all of you and our partnered organizations which have extended their support to STS Connects. And we are looking forward to organizing many more sessions with your absolute involvement in near future. Though STS has taken that first step, we very well know that we can achieve great and sustainable results when we come together and be proactive to take this initiative to the next level. We can have fruitful results when each one of you own this initiative and share it with all your friends and family members so that more people can be benefited from this STS Connects. As the saying goes, our well-being is in everybody's well-being, isn't it? And we obviously want a society surrounded by happy people. We are always willing to offer help to the next person in need. And at the same time, whoever hesitates to ask for help, it is two-way process, right? Let us hold hands together and do our part for this purposeful initiative called STS Connects. And today I conclude my speech with a heartfelt quote. Integrity is all about inclusiveness. Integrity is not just a bunch of principles or morals, but it is about being concerned and sensitive to all life around. Thanks to everyone. And finally, let us all integrate with utmost integrity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Garu. So, Vinay, over to you. So you can take this session forward.
Thank you, Kotigaru. Thank you, Anil. Am I audible? So my voice is.
You are audible.
Just some checks before I start the meeting. And let me share my screen. And please let me know if you're able to see the full screen or not.
Dear participants, basically Vinay will be conducting this session first, and then even if you have any questions, I will be posting Slido, so where you can post your questions. So questions will be answered in sequence. I mean, like where people like more. I mean, which question gets more likes, that will be answered first. However, we try to accommodate all the questions answered within the timeline. Thanks for your cooperation. Yeah, go ahead then, Vinay.
Thank you, Anil. That makes sense. Good morning, right? Once again, to everyone who is present over the call. And greetings of the day for the people who are connecting outside from India. I've been receiving some SMS yesterday that people wanted to connect to this session from US and India and all that. So greetings of the day from wherever you are. Today's session is largely focusing on introduction to the data sciences and the various career opportunities associated with the data science. So predominantly, I'll be focusing on the machine learning, artificial intelligence aspect of the data science. And then during the session, I will keep the session as layman as possible. So meaning I'm not going to go very deep into the concepts or anything like that, but very high level introduction of the jargons and the concepts. And then pretty much, I think the major focus is during the second part, right? In Singapore, largely focusing on Singapore and in general, right? How are the career opportunities looking like in the data science machine learning opportunities, right? And as Anil mentioned, stay back with all your questions. So probably you can also keep it with you. There'll be a dedicated Q&A session at the end, and then probably you can pose all the questions there, and then I'll be happy to address. Okay, so with that note, I'll quickly explain you the agenda for today, or I would call it how the knowledge path for you should look like today, right? So I think I predominantly divided this into three sections. One is introduction of data science, right? What is data science? And then some of the people who are attending the call, right? They might not even know what this particular topic is all about, right? But by then they've been hearing a lot of things about AI, ML, data science. So I'm going to take everyone through at a layman terms. What is data science, and then core concepts involved, and then some demo, right? And then some key facts associated with the data science, especially how is it impacting the current world. That's your first section, right? As you can see, it's mostly about introduction. On the second part, I'll go a little bit one level down and explain what constitutes the data science implementation. Correct, and there are some wrong misconceptions that people might have about the data science. So I'm going to clear through and then explain how the end-to-end life cycle looks like, and then what it really takes to implement a data science solution in your organization. Correct. And then, of course, last but not the least, various career paths associated with the data science. For example, depending on where you are in the career, and then if you want to move towards data science or AI or machine learning, so how would you choose that? Correct. And then some of the support that Singapore government is providing to enable the AI education, and then also to adopt artificial intelligence, data science into the Singapore firms. So with that note, probably I think after that we can wrap up to the Q&A sessions. And then I have two screens. So pardon me if my face keeps turning between the screens. It's just mean that I'm between the screens, and then so just pardon me on that aspect. Good. So with that note, let's get into the core of the topic. So data science intro, right? So as an icebreaker, I'll post this picture, right? So everyone can see the picture in here. In this picture, can you identify the tiger? So there is a reason why I wanted you all to do this exercise, right? So maybe I think you can share the screenshot if you could able to identify the tiger. You can circle it, or probably I'll give you some 15-20 seconds, right? So if you can circle it manually using your iPhones or whatever that is, and then you can send it back. I think you can do that. So this is one of the classic examples where, right, how human mind thinks, and then what are its limitations. So especially, the human minds are not good at, catching the anomalies, or, human mind is trained to look at this picture in general, right, as a holistic picture altogether. But if you want to really get into the details and then find the anomalies out of it, it's very tough. Okay, so I'll give you 5 more seconds, right? If you could able to find the tiger in this picture, I would want you to screenshot it and paste it. So, but otherwise, let me reveal this for you, right? So it's here. It's a cub, basically. It's a tiger cub. So the reason why I shown this is, for example, if I put this image to an artificial intelligent solution, right? So it could able to identify the goats, the rocks, mountains, and tiger within seconds. So it'll be able to do that. How do you think it'll be able to do that? And then what makes this particular artificial intelligence solution so special and then so different to how human think, right? So which is what I'm going to cover in the next few slides. And then let me clear you all with some definitions and some key features and jargons, right? Just to bring everyone onto the same stage, right? Same level. So data science is usually the field of study that aims to use a scientific approach to derive insights from the data. For example, if you have a huge data, right, and then even you used some advanced algorithms, or basically you use some kind of an insights based on some simple rules. For example, if you could able to extract something out of the data, that's a field of data science. For example, you have your flight cancellations data, right? And then based on which you could able to derive, the influencing factors for your flight cancellations. For example, weather is predominantly most important factor for the cancellation, right? You could able to derive that using the data. And then these days, COVID, new variants of the COVID are key enablers to cancel to enable the flight cancellation. So what you're doing here is you're using the flight data, and then you're deriving the insights, and then plan your scheduling everything accordingly, right, for the flights. So that's simple. So here you're using the data science. Whereas machine learning is the area of data science where you teach machines to be intelligent and then go beyond what humans can do, right? And then derive the insights and then even predict something that is going to happen. So like, for example, like the tiger that you saw in the example, right? Humans might not immediately recognize what the tiger is and then where the tiger is. So imagine the pixels of this is very, very poor. And then, you need to browse through, millions of photos like this. So human cannot obviously do this. So he needs to be augmented with artificial solution and teach them how to detect the anomalies. That's where the area of machine learning comes into the picture. So that's a basic difference. So basically, machine learning is a subset of data science. And analytics, the plain simple analytics you do is also part of the data science, wherein you use some rules-based techniques to derive data, right? For example, the one I've provided, flights cancellation. So it's pretty easy to relate. New Omicron variant is causing all the flight cancellations in last 30 days. You don't need a machine learning solution to do that. That's a simple analytics that also comes as part of the data science. But what differentiates the machine learning from the data science is, so basically machine learning, as I said, it'll predict, and then it's probabilistic in nature. So it says that in this picture, I can think that that's a tiger, and I'm telling you with like 95% confidence or 96% confidence. And then how is it running? It's based on a machine learning or an artificial intelligence model in the background. So which is coded by the developers. And then in some cases, right, it requires huge amount of data to train and then teach machines to predict or to perform the intelligent tasks that it's supposed to do. In some cases, it might not, but most of the cases, it needs data. So you need to provide lots and lots of data and then train them. I'll cover that in the implementation part. How do we do it in detail? But just understand that without data, there is not good machine learning solution that you could able to build. And then, as I mentioned, this is a key differentiator, right, of the artificial intelligence or data science. Analyzes the hidden patterns. So some of the patterns that humans could not able to see, and then the relationships between the data points that humans could not able to do at a deeper levels. So this is where it'll excel. This is where the artificial intelligence or machine learning is better than the humans. And then some of the jargons that you keep hearing in current days world, data science, machine learning, I think I explained what the difference here. But you also hear words like, deep learning, neural networks, natural language processing, computer vision, so on and so forth. What are all these jargons? How does it all connect together? Correct? So let me help you familiarize with some of the jargons that you keep hearing in the industry in the next slide. As I mentioned here, right? So all these circles that you could see here, it's all data science. So even if you do a machine learning analysis or analytics, it's predominantly data science, correct? So and here, important aspects that you would need to understand is this circle here, which is our current area of focus today. So machine learning is teaching the computers, teaching through a programming language, right? Teaching machines how to intelligently recognize something or intelligently take some action, correct? And then another subset that involves is deep learning, right? So where models that self-correct and learn. And as I could able to explain, the machine learning and deep learning, the way I would to segregate these two is, deep learning is the subset of the machine learning where the implementation mimics the human brain. In the human brain, right, how it works. For example, if you see an apple, how do you feel that it's an apple? Because as soon as you see an apple, it constitutes a lot of things, right? It's color, and then the shape of it, correct? And then probably the three-dimensional shape of it. And then when you hold it, the senses that you would get, right? So all that triggers various neurons inside your brain. So meaning your neural networks, various neural networks will act together and comes to a conclusion that's an apple. And humans, it's easy, right? So it's brain in your, it's wide in your brain. But to replicate that using the machines, what you would do, you build your artificial neurons here. And then you code these neurons. And then just like how humans perceive something, right? So you'll teach the machines with some kind of a data saying that, hey, I'm training you to recognize if it is a car or not a car. So I would do using a neural network, and I build this, and then using the historical data, I'll train you. I'll help you understand the patterns, and then help you accurately predict if it is a car or not. Which also falls into another aspect of the machine learning or deep learning, right? Which is supervised learning. So here, what's happening here is I'm teaching the computers with some kind of a historical data. So I'm supervising its learning. So that means I'm providing the historical data to learn, right? So which is what is called a supervised learning. So learn from example. I'll tell them, hey, these are the 200 pictures of a car. You know what? Understand the patterns in it. And then next time, if I put a 201 picture, you'll be able to see it's a car. But there is also another aspect that is very interesting in the machine learning, right? Unsupervised learning. What is unsupervised learning? I'm teaching the machine learning algorithm or a deep learning algorithm, right, without any data. So first time I can provide a data, I can already use some statistical methods to derive a meaning out of it. I think the examples are provided here. I'll do this here, right? For example, segmentation of audience. For example, if I have like 2,000 customers, I can cluster them into three groups, right? For example, these are the group of customers that are expected to create a high revenue to the company. These small set of customers that are present, they are very highly risky customers. How would they do? They use the statistical methods to cluster. So here it doesn't need any historical data to be trained, right? So basically it understands the patterns inside the data itself and then clusters them into various groups. So which is the clustering problem. So which is where the unsupervised learning comes into play. And then reinforcement learning, on the other hand, how many of you heard about Google's AlphaGo, correct? Or the IBM Watson's, the computer that plays chess, correct? And then it beats grandmasters and AlphaGo champions games, right? So how these computers learn these games, artificial intelligence learn these games, how do they learn the rules? So all this is based on reinforcement learning. In a way, these days you also see the so-called self-driving cars, the cars that drives on its own. In a way, I think it uses most of all these techniques, but predominantly what it uses is reinforcement learning. Right? So if I go straight, if I hit an object, so what will happen? The car will break, and then that's a negative reward. So what I would do, I will take a left and then go. That it learns on its own. So predominantly that is also a reinforcement learning model. And then all these concepts, as I said, right, they fall under data science. And then I don't know if any one of you attended Piyush Gupta's session in last month, right? Last few months. All these are narrow AI. The current AI that we have is very narrow. What do I mean by narrow AI? It is only used to solve a specific use case. It is not a general UI. You cannot build a robot and say that it excels in everything. Or I have a general tool wherein if I ask anything to do, it'll be able to do that. No, it's not that. It's not a general AI. The concepts that we're currently dealing with, it's all narrow AI. AI that can do a computer vision. For example, if I have thousands of chest X-rays, I want computer vision model to tell me if I have a COVID or not. That's a specific use case. So you're using to detect the COVID disease here, or to predict the disease here. Or I have a document intelligence, right? So I have chatbots built. So that is predominantly used to interact with the customers. Document intelligence, it is built only to extract the insights out of the documents. And then, for example, if I have a feature engineering model, wherein it is used only to detect the fraud. So there is no one single module that can do all these three, or in general, take care of all the AI together, right? So that's still not there. So the general AI is at least 20 years away, 20 to 25 years away. So that's how I think all the jargons will work together. Correct. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate what is this AI, right? So we've been talking about AI, how it works. I'm going to take this document intelligent example and see if I could able to show you a live demo, right? I built an application myself to use to analyze the documents. I think I can open that and see. In case if the network and all doesn't permit, I also have kept a video for a backup, so I can also play that video for you. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, again share another screen. Give me a moment. you can see the Saras on the screen, right? Anil, do you see a different screen now? Do you see Saras onto the screen?
Yes, Vinay. Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is a document intelligence tool that I built, right? So I'm gonna show you how natural language processing, right? How computer analyzes the documents. So let me quickly log in. So I'm calling it document X-ray, right? So basically, what this tool do? Any document that you put, it recognizes and classifies the document based on these factors that you could see. Either if it is a resume or a scientific publication or a bill of lading, which is used in your logistics, or receipts, or plain English, right? So basically, any other documents that are associated. So let me take a resume example and then see if it predicts correctly or not, right? So let me drop the PDF file here. Let me view the file. So basically, this guy, I'm a HR, right? So then I want to analyze hundreds of resumes or thousands of resumes every hour. So then, being a human, you could not able to analyze the resumes clearly. And I created this dummy resume, right? This guy is not there; he's not real. So I created this dummy resume, and I want to analyze. I want to show you how a computer vision would analyze this particular document. So first of all, as you could see, right, this guy is a web developer, senior web developer, and he's got some key skills. He knows some tools and technologies, and he works somewhere. He graduated in graduated in Bachelor of Science, and then all these are available in this particular resume. So imagine if I have to process thousands of these resumes, right? So how would computer do it? So in this document analysis, as you could see here, right, it clearly identified the file type is a PDF. If it is an image, it says image. The language inside is English. And then 97% confidence, it says that it's a resume. So here you could see the machine is classifying the document, correct? So how is it doing? So here I used hundreds of resumes, right? And then I told them this is resume and this is not a resume. So it learned from my model. And then if you could see the advanced text analysis, right? So ease of reading is slightly complicated because he used some of the jargons, etc. And this is interesting, right? If I see the word cloud, if I'm a HR, if I can just see the word cloud, right? All I can see is a web developer and programming developer, design, PHP, languages, CSS. Even without looking at the resume, right? Only looking at this web cloud, I can clearly say that this resume belongs to a web developer or a senior web developer, right? So, and then he also has some kind of a project experience. But let's say if he applied for a data engineer job, so I can just look at this word cloud and then say that there's something wrong with this resume, right? He doesn't fit. And then I can quickly filter through some of the aspects like this. And then there is also a summarized text. So those one-page complete resume, the machine learning, what it is doing, it's crunching and then providing you all the important points in a more summarized way. Let's say if I have a 10-page resume, I can pretty much summarize into 2 paragraphs, correct? And then last but not the least, right, this is very important. As I could see here, it extracted all the relevant information of this particular candidate. Candidate name is Morgan. I have the phone number, email, and then it also talks about the tools and technologies that I would know. And see here, right? It says that I'm graduated from Columbia University, and then graduation year is 2014, degree is Bachelor of Science. So here it's providing all the insights at one go. And then as you could see here, right, it's a pretty much unstructured document. Every resume has its own type. And then, but by then the machine is trained to recognize this. So this is what an artificial intelligence could able to do, right? And then you can as well build a nice web tool to quickly visualize all this information in the form of a graph, right? So you can see that ease of reading is complicated, and then the file type is PDF. The same thing that it extracted, I can as well see in a form of a graph and play around and then take a decision quickly. And then imagine I could able to schedule all these documents in the backend. Let's say if I receive 1,000 resumes, here I can use this module to say that you do the analysis on each of these documents and then tell me extract all the relevant information from them, right? So here, it's a very powerful tool for an enterprise. And imagine they receive varieties of documents and thousands of documents, and then requires good human intervention to analyze these documents, etc. And then, as I said, how we built this model, for example, if I wanted to train a taxi receipts model, right? So here, using the same artificial intelligence, I am using a supervised learning. So that means I'm providing the historical information to them. And then I'm gonna create all the entities that I wanted to extract, and then basically annotate all these documents and teach them. For example, in this taxi receipts, right? I say this is a brand, correct? And then, for example, so for example, Grab is a brand, correct? I'm labeling it, and I'm creating a JSON out of it, and then I'm training the model, and then deploying it, and then teaching it. So this is basically your supervised learning. So this is how you teach a computer program using hundreds of documents and tell them to recognize a document and classify the document. So if you go back to my previous slide, right, wherein I was saying this one, right? So basically, in some cases, it requires good amount of data to train and build these models. This is exactly what I was talking about. And then what I just explained is a supervised learning and the language modeling. I think it's pretty much similar for all the other models, correct? So, which is what I explained through the demo. But what's the value that AI is creating currently, right? This is interesting topic. You know what? If anyone asks me what revolutionized the AI, right? Let me share the screen. Sorry. Okay, so if Anil, you see the bigger screen, correct?
Screen. I mean, for that moment, she asked, I think.
Okay, yeah, good. So what you could see in here, right? You know, if
it's not actual one, Vinay. I think you are sharing the presentation mode.
How about now?
Yes, now good. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So there's been a survey conducted, right? At least every organization is very, very confident on AI, and then they want to implement AI. 61% of the people, you know, they're going to be like a more significant initiative as an AI in their organization, correct? And then, you know, what is this number? Surprisingly, before COVID, this is about 30 to 35%. It doubled in COVID, right? And then compared to COVID in 2019, and then in next 2 years, that is compared to 2023, it's going to increase 5 times. So that means close to about 80 to 85% of the people wanted to definitely use AI. And then, as you could see, right, who basically revolutionized or accelerated the AI implementations, it's pretty much COVID. Everyone working from home, you need automated solutions to support the consumers and also to the employees, basically, right? For example, the HR example that I just talked about, right? Imagine if I had that resume analysis solution, and then if I'm an enterprise that receives thousands of resumes daily, it'll enable the HR resources to focus on some other valuable jobs, right? And leave at least the basic document analysis to the AI. So which is what actually happening in some of the organizations. And then this is interesting, right? Look at the $1 billion impact that some of these industries are going to derive from the AI. This is based on McKinsey's research. Some of the industries like retail, travel, transport, and logistics, right? So most of these are online, e-commerce and web apps based. So anything that is web app based, right? AI is not a choice. AI is a compulsory enabled tool. Otherwise, you'll not be able to run today's volumes and then today's complicated operations in these 3 industries. Which is why I think these 3 industries are predominantly going to benefit out of the AI. And then you might be surprised why banking is not there. There is a various reasons why some of these industries are not going to, at least immediately, not going to achieve so much impact compared to the others. Some of these insurance, banking, public sector, social sector, aerospace, and defense, they're heavily regulated. So meaning if you want to use or implement any solution, so you're governed and regulated by the government agencies. So which is why some of the adoption into the complete AI is still not visible. But overall, right, even in these industries, you're talking about globally 200 to $300 billion impact. So meaning the digital banking initiatives that Singapore is taking or across the globe, right? It's pretty evident in these examples. And then you can relate to the industry that you're in, right? But overall, to summarize, there's going to be a huge impact that is going to create by AI. So all this looks good, right? All flashy picture, AI is looking flashy, and then why will not everybody adopt AI? And then do you think everybody are successful in implementing the AI? That's a question I want to pose before going to the next slide, right? Think about it, because there are also a lot of failures in the AI implementations. About 10 to 15% of the organizations that implement AI are failed drastically, correct? And then even in big organizations like Microsoft, LinkedIn, or even Facebook, right? Some of the AI initiatives are drastically taken a different route and failed. Why do you think is the reason? What is driving these failures in the AI industry, right? What they did not do correctly, which led to this, is what covered in the next few slides, wherein I'm going to explain to you all how does a data science life cycle looks like. So meaning everybody thinks that data science is very easy. You take some tools, build some tools, and then do it. That's not the case. Look here, right? If you look this small box here, correct, and then compared to all the other big boxes, actually the data scientists who do the ML code or develop the code or build the model in the background is a very small percentage compared to what is necessary to implement the end-to-end solution. Again, let me reiterate and then refresh you all, right? Remember the supervised learning example that I showed, wherein I was training the taxi receipts intelligent solution. I need to provide thousands of taxi receipts for the machine to learn, right? So which is where, data is very important. Data collection, data verification, and then the configuration to bring all the data at one place. You need to have this before even starting the models. Data scientists, right? If you go say, hey, build me the the taxi receipts extraction solution, right? Intelligent extraction solution. First thing that they would ask is, give me some sample documents, at least 100 to 200 documents for me to train the model. And then as a firm, if you don't have a proper document management system, then it'll be very tough even for you to provide the historical data here. And then when you're providing the data, it might also contain sensitive information, right? How do you then you do your masking, and how do you verify if some of this data is correct? So data is very important, fundamental aspects of the data science of machine learning, and then it starts from there. So that's predominantly large amount of resource where it will take, right? Even before developing the code. Remember the solution where I was, teaching the machine, hey, this is the brand and this is the passenger's name using an annotation tool. That also takes a lot of time. So I need to teach these 200 documents to the computer, which are the fields that I want to extract, and then which are the fields that are important. So ML code is very less. The data scientists, what they would do is predominantly less. Data verification and data management is fundamental, and then that takes most of the time. And then on the other aspects, right, you need to have a business use cases. You need to have a process management tool to identify the business use case for AI. I wouldn't name the company, but there is a company X, which is a very good hospitality company, right? So it invested about $15 million and then built a global AI tool and developers and solutions and everything. And then for the first 6 or 7 months, right, they could not able to build anything using these tools simply because they invested on the tools, but not on the process. They did not have a very good AI use cases to put into these tools. And then they did not think about, how do you, connect both the business people and the technological people together. So which is why, again, process management and machine resourcing and everything is important. And of course, your hardware, and then once the model goes live, monitoring is what takes most of the time. So if you have a perception that, ML coding and the model development is everything in the data science or machine learning, please take away that perception. Before even getting into the code, you need to take care of a lot of things. But some people have a different perception, right? If I talk about AI or ML, all I need to do is train a model, package the model, I validate it using my tools, deploy and monitor, and then done, right? So I have a very good AI solution. So basically, people think that if I do all this, does it make sense? No, actually, it looks simple, but it's insanely hard to do all this, right? And then to do all this, you need to have a proper operations to implement them. The AI is not just this. It's not just about development. Let me show you in the next slide what the complete end-to-end AI lifecycle looks like. In any organization, right? All we perceive is, you just need to build this model here. You need to train the model, package and validate it. That's what, if I do all this correctly and then accurately, and then I have a best AI team. Wrong. First, you need to understand, what are the use cases, inventory, and prioritization that is needed, right? And then even you need to have a proper data management and data governance. And then you need to think about privacy and access management in this AI, right? And on top of that, AI governance is also very important. The Singapore MAS has launched FEET framework, right? Which says that any artificial intelligence solution should be flexible, explainable. That means I need to explain how the solution has come, how machine has taken this decision. Accountable, that means if something goes wrong, there should be like a defined set of people who are responsible and then take actions. And a key, right? Transparent. So whatever the whole process that a machine learning solution takes should be transparent. So which is where your AI governance and frameworks will come into the play. So and then you definitely need to have an AI ethics committee and then third-party audits, and then you need to have a design standards and coding standards to approve the AI models. And then there should be an AI impact assessment and validation a team that is different to the business and the development team to deploy the AI models. Facebook, I'll give you an example. Right? Facebook has built a chatbot. This is about 3.5 years ago. And what happened there? It's a very simple chatbot. The aim of this chatbot is to understand how the human relations looks like, human emotions looks like, and then they deployed it. And then what happened within 2 days, right? The chatbot has become racial. It is trying to make racial comments on the blacks and then racial comments on different religions and all that. What happened here? So because this chatbot is left open, so it is again open to learn the data from the interactions that it has, right? 30 to 35% of the people who interacted with them was playing around with the chatbot and then feeding in all negative information. And then the chatbot is turned negative. So what happened here? Exactly this is what has happened. The impact assessment and validation is failed here. And then the design, you made it open, right? For such a chatbot, you need to have some restrictions in place, and then you need to have some boundaries in place around what needed to be happen, right? And then when this incident happened, nobody knows what to do because they don't have an internal ethics committee to deal with the after match situations. So, which is what the AIDA, right? Which is your MAS frameworks comes into the picture here. So which is why the AI governance and framework is important. And on top of that, the reason why the data science and machine learning are very, very attractive now and then very accurate and then useful now is because of Moore's law, right? Everybody knows Moore's law. That means your computer power is at least increased 20 to 25 times compared to what it is 15 years ago or 10 years ago. So which is why you have the power in your computers to build these models, to train the heavy data sets, terabytes and petabytes of data sets, right? Trillions of parameters is what you can train now, which wasn't possible 5 to 10 years back. Hence, AI infrastructure management is equally important. What are the computers that you're going to use? What clusters are going to use? How do you combine all these three into a single solution? And then once the model is live, how do you serve the model in the batch time or real time? And then security and management of this particular solution, right? Can anybody and everybody access? And then can I, just to play with the AI, can I fiddle with the data and then just corrupt the data that is used for the training? So which is where the the AI infra is also comes into the play. As you could see here, right? The perception I want to take out of your head is it's not just about model building again here. So it's an amalgamation of governance and frameworks, your business, where you have a center of excellence, building the AI accelerators, and then most importantly, identify right use cases, identify healthy data with very good data governance. And then after all this, one by one, you feed into the development. Then once, even before this development is done, you should have a proper infrastructure to support the AI implementation. So there are so many factors involved in a successful AI implementation. Okay, so with that note, how does a AI maturity model looks like? Right? Can you straight away start with the very huge, predictive AI cases? When I had my when I was working in EY, so this is what I learned from EY. Right? So basically, it's not. You need to start with a small data foundation. So you need to understand how is your data looking like. You need to think about building the data lakes, data warehouses. First, try to bring all the data at one point, and then implement the governance and then health tracking on top of that. And then get the executive insights, right? So basically develop trusted insights. So build some simple dashboards, just like I said, right? Build some simple analytical solutions, which will give you an executive and management insights first, correct? So you start simple always when you're planning the AI solutions, right? And then even without the machine learning and artificial intelligence, right? You can still, using simple rules and analysis, you can still, cover 40% of your use cases. So which is where is this the four boxes comes into the play. Then if you have the maturity in getting the data together and then building some small insights and trusted insights, right? That's where you explore and analyze further deeper use cases. You go a little bit deeper, you explore. Okay, so then you talk to the business and say that, can I get into a predictive analytics with the data that I have? Can I turn insights into action? So that means what I'm doing now is something's already happened and then I'm deriving it. How about using the same data, build an artificial intelligence solution, and then stop something that is happening? So which is where you slowly explore and analyze the data, improvise the data, build the semi-operational insights, and then get into the prediction. And then once you're doing this well, that means you form a small AI team, small governance team, and then small business team to deal with it. You scale up, right? So ideally, you can build something like this, right? End-to-end human augmented AI and analytics team, correct? And then, which is why you need to balance both the human element and also technical capability to achieve the full-fledged AI power, correct? So I think, I don't know if we can share these slides later. This is very helpful. You can keep it as a reference and you can ask for the Telugu Samajam team for these slides, and then you can keep this as a reference and then helpful. Just a caution around, I put the disclaimer in the end of the slide as well, right? So here, all these are, I'm explaining based on my knowledge and my experience, and then this might not be completely directly relevant to you. So you might need to do some adjustments, and then you need to consult with your own departments and then companies even before implementing it. So as I said, this is my view, correct? So with that note, it's very, very evident to achieve the full complete unlock the complete power of AI, and then you need to implement the AI in a proper way without the failures. You need to take care of all this. But think through, right? If I have to do all this, I need people behind running all this, correct? For example, you need an audit committee, you need an ethics committee, you need someone who could able to take care of the infra. So, and then you could able to, we need someone who could able to understand the use cases that are relevant to the AI. Someone who could able to do the data engineering activities. So there are various roles and actors involved. As you could see here, right? Data science career is not about data scientist. There are various roles and responsibilities in this whole AI implementation that you can talk to. And then I'm going to give you a clarity in next few slides, right? So how does that look like? For example, if you're really interested to move into the AI, and if you're in a various parts of your career, but you're really interested to catch the wave of AI, how do you do it? So I'm going to cover this in this particular topic of data science career. Correct? So in here, this is the basic understanding of the career path that is most appropriate. Again, my understanding and my research based on historical expenses and based on speaking with some of the industry experts, I've come up with this table. And this table might be slightly changing, slightly be different to different people, and then it might not be completely relevant to any of you. But I think here, right, any one of you are attending this particular conference. So unless and until if you have your own business, right, that also comes under consulting. You'll fall into any of these criteria. Either you're a student, correct? You're a STEM or a secondary or a post-secondary student, correct? And then you wanted to know how to get into the AI or a machine learning or a data science. Or you're a fresher. You just joined into a company and then you wanted to you're from a technical background and then you wanted to get into an AI. But you're a non-IT, right? I'm a fresher, I'm an accountant or a tax or an audit guy. And but still I wanted to get into the AI. I want to involve in the AI and catch the AI. So these are all so the first three are in the beginning of their careers, right? So they're just starting the careers very fresh. And then there are others who are in the mid-career. So at least I have like 4 years of experience or 5 years of experience or 6-7 years of experience, right? And then I'm again an IT guy with the 6 years of experience or a non-IT guy with like a 6-7 years of experience. So if that is the case, then how do you what kind of a paths that is relevant? And some of the other guys, right, they are not working in any company, they're not freshers, or they're in the mid-career, they're in the consulting field. Basically, here, right, they deal with projects. You know, for example, all your Indian IT companies, and then also Accenture, Big Four, all these kind of companies, right? You can call themselves as consultants, right? A consulting company. So largely Big Four and Accenture's, McKinsey, BCG's, all these where the consulting will fall under. So very high level, let me take you through how can you chart your career to get into the data science, correct? If you're a student, right, the most famous or most general way of getting into the data science is, you know, when you're a STEM student, do a computer science engineering, right? Bachelor's in BTech in India is what it is called, computer science engineering in Singapore. You do that, and then some of the people also end up doing a 4-year, 5-year PhD, pick up an AI topic, and then become a data scientist. So, or there are a few people who could do bachelor's and master's in computer engineering, right? So these guys are the core data scientists. So if I go back here, they were able to do this particular portion really well. And then they can also talk to the business. If you give your use case based on their skill set, they can easily pick up which model is relevant, and they can use a coding to code the model. They can validate and take the help of infra team to deploy the model. So they're very, very, very high and even advanced into this particular topic. These PhD students, right, or even who've done masters of engineering, they're not just learning the so-called your machine learning concepts here, also gets a predominant understanding of statistics, correct? So these guys are the ones who creates models, and then which is not there at all in the world. They write the papers, and then they also take the patents. Correct. So these are they start as a data scientist and senior data scientist, and then they even lead the data science team. So these are it's pretty common, pretty common route to get into the data science, right? And then if you ask me, last 3 years or 4 years or even 5 years back, right? This is the only route that was possible. There is no other route, because at that time, tools and technologies are not there for a normal developer to develop an AI solution. You need to write everything from scratch, correct? So, but now, because you have lots and lots of tools, the other roles emerge. But let's say not everybody can get into this route, right? For example, I'm just a bachelor's of engineering, and then I already joined a company, a tech role. How do I get into the AI? The other popular route that I see these days is do the AI certifications, which means you learn, you think about which part of the AI you want to get into, right? You want to get into a text analysis, which is NLP, or you want to get into like a computer vision, as I explained before, analytics of the videos, images, etc. Or you want to derive insights from the data, right? So you choose a topic of convenience, right? And then learn all these introductory topics first using the AI certifications. Very important. If you want to get into the data scientist, you need to learn the statistics. So without learning the statistics, even if you do the AI certifications, right, you'll have trouble identifying the use cases, helping business identify the use cases, and even code the proper business use case. So these two are important. And then I've seen people who's got these two, right, but still they could not able to get into the career is simply because they don't have the practical experience of AI. They need to speak to the enterprise, and then they need to be vocal around the kind of certifications and then kind of knowledge that they've gained. Ask them to include in the part of the AI journey, company's AI journey. Ask them to provide a team or be part of team where they're implementing the AI. So meaning, for example, if there is already a team of PhDs who are working on data science, they need to shadow them or work with them and gain the practical understanding to apply this. If you don't do all these three, right? If you don't do any of these three, you'll never be a data scientist or head of data science, right? So you could still become a programmer, and then you still can gain the knowledge, but you'll never be able to get into the data science career. So you need to have a practical opportunity and experience. And then a lot of people ask, right? I was again, take the Big Four example, where I was working with EY. Surprisingly, right? A lot of auditors and tax accountants, they used to tell a brilliant story on the financial data. You know what they're trying to do? They're using the simple data analytics, and then they're learning these data analytics, and then they're using these data analytics to tell the story, which is the domain that they already know. So, which means a fresher who's a non-IT, right, can also get into the AI by mostly focusing on AI COE. So meaning these people are the ones who will drive the AI use cases in the organization. So they feed the organization with lots and lots of AI use cases. And then so they are the ones who will create a pipeline of use cases for the data scientists to work. And then they are the ones who can also work with your data scientist, provide them, teach them the domain knowledge that these guys might not have, and then help, deploy the solution and then even use the solution in the business. Correct? So they fall into that category. So which is why even if you're a non-IT, if you want to get into the data science, you can talk, you can think about AI COE, think about your operation, right? And think about how some of these use cases can be solved by automation or AI. And even the very popular program these days is Citizen Data Science Program. Citizen Data Science Program is using the low-code AI tools that are available in the market. And then because you also have the domain, you build your own very simple, small AI solutions and then experiment and learn. And if it works well, show this solution to the data scientist and then fine tune it and then improvise the solution and then deploy it. So that is also very, very famous, right? Citizen Data Science Program. And then you could also become a business analyst, wherein, as I said, you can convert your business requirements into technical requirements and then give it to the data scientist. So which is why I called Citizen Data Scientist or AI COE lead, right? Approximately in 3 to 4 years. So for freshers, this is how you take care. But I think this is very important, right? Most of us will fall in here. So either a mid-career, you're like 4 or 5 years of experience, 6, 7 years of experience, and then you want to get into the AI. So I'll spend a little bit of time and then explain what are some of the various paths that are already there in the market. So some of the technical developers, right, they are into automation, workflow management, and RPA and all that. For them, it's actually very easy to get into the AI. So because they already know how the end-to-end process work, they can focus on intelligent automation. They can leverage the cloud solutions like Azure, AWS, it already has a inbuilt AI modules. For example, Google has your computer vision document, right? And then also Azure has a drag and drop module to build the chatbots, correct? And then some of these RPA solutions like UiPath, it has got its inbuilt document understanding artificial intelligence solution. So you start there, you use those low-code AI and cloud, improvise your workflow management, and then all these with these solutions first. And then with that code, right, and then also do some offline statistical courses, you could become a senior data scientist. And then some are in the DevOps, correct? I've been hearing, I met a guy last month, right? He says, I'm in the DevOps, I'm very good in DevOps. I want to get involved in the AI. For someone like him, right, I think you see this module here. Even this is almost like a development, like how you develop a website, you also do it in a more automated way. So which is what we call it ML ops or AI ops, right? So this is not different to your DevOps. So you can implement, you can take the same framework and tools, your Git and Bitbuckets, and then Chef Puppets to train, test the models, and then automatic deployments, etc. All that can be adopted here. So you can also become a AI ops or ML ops engineer, right? And then you can become an AI ops lead and infra engineer in the future. Let's say if you're a basic developer, a Java developer, where you're building the apps, so you can help data scientists to create the front-end and back-end engines, front-end UI and then back-end engines to host their app. Remember the example that I shown here, the tool, the Saras tool that I've seen here, right? The UI that you see is built using this particular Java-based framework, correct? And then what it is doing, it's calling the backend machine learning APIs which are deployed. And then how do I do that? I researched over the internet, and then I spoke to some of the developers, taken their help to build that front end. So even developers can get into the AI, and then they can get into the AI product management and AI application development, etc. And last but not the least, right, data engineers. Data engineers has a very good chance, or even data analytics guys, right? They have a very good chance to become an AI data engineer or AI data analytics guy, just because they already know the data in the organization. They already know where the documents are, and then they already know which tables are used, the health of the tables, how to bring them all together. Then all I need to gain is either I can use a low-code AI to learn how the AI works. I can build some simple use cases, or I can work with the data scientist, right? I can say that, hey, I have these data topics, and then you can also collaborate with business and say that I can provide the data, you can build the solutions. So which is why this is also easy, right? And then in 10 years, 8 years, 10 years down the line, you can become a head of data. So meaning even data scientists, chief data scientists can be like under you, and then data engineering activities, analytical activities, all this can be under you. So that is how a mid-career IT guy can get into the data science or a machine learning career path. And then I've seen in many Singapore organizations, right, the mid-career non-IT guys, they're the ones who leads the COE side. They are AI evangelists, right? So what happens here? they are the ones who leads this particular part. They form the center of excellence. They bring all the business people who wants to get into the AI and support the data scientist in one single team. And then they also design some reusable accelerators, and then they also build the tracking mechanisms. They also design and drive the training programs. And then they are the ones who are able to create the lead and guide the non-IT junior folks to create the use cases for AI, right? So those are AI center of excellence. So you can become a lead of that. Then you become an evangelist, right? This is very popular. So you can go around across the organization and say that, hey, you know what? I've helped this department, finance department, to save about $2 million using AI. And then there's been a successful use case. How about we look into implementing the AI in HR? So they go and evangelize, right? So then they become an AI head or AI COE in three to 4 years. Or because these guys are not just having the domain skills, but they also have a very good operational skills, right? They can become an AI governance lead. So they can be part of that ethics committee. They can design those ethics committees with the help of the consultants, and then they can very well govern the center of excellence and data science teams to implement AIs. I've seen people who've become and then achieved this, right? And consultants on the other hand, right? As I said, so this is pretty clear. So in the mid-career, this is how you do it. For consultants, so you need to have you need to be part of the AI project team, and then you need to handle the AI projects initially, correct? So meaning you know how the end-to-end implementation of the AI projects looks like, and then how you need to manage it at a client end. And then your team also can consist of the data scientists in your organizations, or some business analysts in your organizations, and together you know how to deliver an AI project. As I said, these guys, they're not internal in your organization, right? They help companies to implement AI. They're outsiders, like your Indian IT companies and Big Fours and all that. So then you can become an AI project lead and so on and so forth, right? So basically here you manage an AI projects along with AI developers and AI infra and data teams in 3 to 4 years. And then some of the consultants, they might not be good in project management, but they're very good in design. So they can design the operations. Again, this is very relevant to BCGs, McKinsey's, EY, these big four consulting companies, right? These guys, they'll be initially part of target operating model or a target AI operations team. So they design the entire operations. And then first they lead and design, and later they can lead and design the implementation of COE and TOM and advise companies how to do it. And then if you're in a consulting and a mid-career, so the paths that I've seen is AI practice lead or AI practice head. So meaning in Singapore, right, you can talk to the companies, and then you can take all the wins from these project implementations, and then you build a practice around it. And then the other people that I've seen in the LinkedIn and all that, right? So these guys are evangelists. What these guys will do, they will bring all the good topics of AI, and then with a huge network of people that they have, right, 30,000, 40,000 followers, they share those topics in the LinkedIn and all these social media and promote AI, right? So they are also very heavily paid, and then that's a career now. So you can become an AI evangelist through these social media. So, but otherwise, usually in consulting, where you end up, either your local head or regional head of AI practice, or in Big Four, you call it partner or associate partner in the AI. So I've taken some time and then spent through how these career paths looks like, right? Some of these roles might not be relevant to you. Some of these are exactly where you are. Think these in the mind, right? If you want to really get into the AI, you need to get into some of these, especially gain knowledge on some of the topics that you don't know here, and then chalk around like in next 6 months to 1 year, how do I get into the AI? As I said, I am open to the questions in the end, right? I'll explain more topics or answer more questions in the end. And I would like to, there are last few slides that I have, right? Here, I would like to take the opportunity, focus on what Singapore government is doing to support AI education, correct? Singapore government is very forward thinking. And then they have this vision, right? By 2030, Singapore will be a leader in developing and deploying scalable, impactful AI solutions in key sectors of high value and relevance to our citizens and business, correct? Or even residents, I would call it, right? So meaning they want to be a leader, not just anyone, right? So they want to be a leader in developing and deploying scalable, and not just any AI, right? Impactful AI solutions. That means something that will impact in key sectors, add value, not just to the businesses, but also to the residents and citizens. So in this, right, so they have various programs that they're doing currently. So basically, there are, I'll split it up into two, right? For students, what they're doing, and then already someone who's a job holder, right, who's already working somewhere, what are the programs that are associated? So for example, this is very powerful program, AI for Industry program. So in the past 3 years, right, more than 5,000 working professionals have upskilled under this program. So meaning they gained knowledge into the AI. Remember, I said you need to do some AI certifications, offline courses, and then even you need to gain practical experience of AI, right? So all these three, this program will enable. So you need to register to this program, and then they'll be help you take you through a stages of courses to upskill you in the AI. The other one is AI apprenticeship program. Approximately 180 AI engineers have been trained under this initiative, right? Especially if you're in a fresher, right? Or you're a student, you haven't joined any company, but you want to get into the AI. For those kind of a people, right? There is this apprenticeship program. You gain some quite a bit of knowledge on the AI, and then you'll also be given live projects to work on. So the practical experience of AI, right? It takes care of this. And then the other one being the Tech Skills Accelerator Program that has helped more than 10,000 adult Singaporeans to acquire new tech skills and then place them in good jobs, including AI ones, right? So this is again one particular course. I want to learn how the AI ops looks like, or I want to learn. I being in a mid-career, right? How can I build an AI COE? How do I adopt AI frameworks in my organization? So it teaches that. And on top of that, the Workforce Singapore and Skills Future courses. There are many courses in which Singapore permanent residents and citizens can appear and then can leverage this, right? That's for your mid-career. For young population, including some of the young ages, right? There are various programs here for people who are attending here who's got your kids and then they are interested in AI topics. I think this is for you, right? AI for students and AI for kids program. Please help them register here. The kids will build small robots and then train them how to interact, and then build some small use very low code to recognize some images, and gives very high level introduction of AI, right? That's for the kids. And then AI Singapore's AI for everyone. This is more or less provides an introductory training on what is AI, and then so on and so forth. And then Ministry of Education had made a national digital literacy program, right? So then AI is quite in center of this national digital literacy program. Skills Future, of course, Singapore is also helping young populations and freshers to enable AI education. Also, right, SG Innovate. You can go to SG Innovate, and then in here, you can also attend various practical courses, and then connect to various startups who wants to recruit people from AI, right, or with an AI experience. It's a very good platform. I would recommend everyone who are freshers and who wants to work with the startups, please do so. SG Innovate, if you can type in the Google, you'll be able to get it. Later, I can also share the links if you want. So you can see, right, the vision is very clear for the Singapore government, and then it has got a lot of courses designed for the mid-careers and then young population to enable in Singapore, enable AI in Singapore. And then again, these are some of the courses, right, which is helping startups and enterprises. I think I'll start with some of the grants here and then go up. For example, MAS is providing the Artificial Intelligence and Data Analytics grant, right? AIDA. So this is launched as part of the financial sector and innovation scheme, wherein if you have very good AI use cases in financial sector, and if your company is doing it, and then the entire implementation, right, up to 1.5 million will be funded by MAS, correct? So meaning you can ask your company who doesn't have budgets to kickstart the AI, right, but you have very good concepts and you have very good team to develop some concepts and tools, you can leverage this grant, and especially if you are in the financial sector. And then AI Singapore research grants is someone who's freshly out of the college of PhD guys, and if you want to conduct more research and then form your own company, and then you want to bring the innovation into the technology, right, which nobody have done in anywhere in the world, AI Singapore research grant up to $1 million, they will be able to help you. And then I've seen people who leverage this and then build startups using these 1 million grant. And I also, with the help of the consultants and some external organizations, right, some of the people implemented AI use cases and then got it funded by MAS. And then some of the other programs include, industry digital transformation and AI deployments plan. So this is to help SMEs to gain the knowledge into the AI. I think the very, very powerful program out of all these four, right, is this AI Singapore's 100 experiments program. So here what happens, let's say if you have a firm, if you have a small firm, and then here what it will do, right, you can talk to the Singapore government via this program. Your firm will get in touch with the people who are trained from the AI apprenticeship program, right? And then the government will co-invest and then help you develop the talent through this AI-AP program. So your firms can also get leverage this one. And then also there's something called Tech Depot, SME portal. If you go to the SME portal and then if you choose this Tech Depot, right, you can use lots and lots of pre-built AI solutions which are already available. So for example, there is a solution built by National Parks team, right, to monitor the social distancing. So you don't have to build anything from the scratch. Right? There is a base model that is already available. You can go here, register your company, and then use these models as it is. So this will accelerate your AI journey. And then other programs, right? So there are some accreditations and Spark programs, IMDA's digital services labs and AI makerspace to jumpstart the AI journey in the SMEs or some of the other programs that Singapore government is supporting to the enterprise. As you could see, right, at least people who are attending from the Singapore, you're in the right place. And then you have support from the government to help them to achieve this vision, right? Which is by 2030, Singapore wants to be the leader in the AI and then wants to impactfully and scalably use AI, right? And then you have all these programs to choose to. So I was also interacting with the local community here. And I was also guiding the young population, especially who are about to come out of the college and then go to the college, right? To look for these courses, to look for these AI for everyone and national digital literacy programs, skills future courses, and also enroll them, ask them to enroll them in the AI apprenticeship program to gain that kickstart in their AI career. So you're in the right place of the world, right? I think with this note, I think I'm done. I'm just want to again reiterate the opinions expressed are purely myself. It worked for me. It's based on my previous experience. And then when you're applying this, make sure you consult properly, consult with your organizations properly, etc. So these copyrights, you cannot recreate these slides, right? I prepared this for Telugu Samajam. So either me or Telugu Samajam can use this and nobody can else. And then if you need some of these material, please come back to me. I'll be able to guide you and take you from there. Okay. So with this note, I'm done and happy to take any of the questions that you might have and take it from there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vinay. I have few questions on Slido. I will start from one by one based on its popularity. So Mr. Santosh raised a question like, would like to know your suggestion for experienced professionals in banking industry to switch their career to AI and data science, in terms of approach, how he can leverage basically.
Sure. So he's in the banking, he's in the mid-career. Banking, is he part of the technical team or a non-technical team?
He didn't mention that.
For example, he didn't mention that, right?
Technical background.
So let me share the same career path. Give me a moment. I think I'll go with the same principle here, right? I'm not going to put the full screen, but I'll leave it up here. So you're a banking, right? Doesn't matter which industry you are in, right? So either you are in a mid-career IT or a non-IT. So if you're already in some technical stack, right, you need to talk to who's the AI team in your organization. For example, if you're in a bank, in the bank, who is that AI team that is centrally taking care of the AI implementations, right? And then how your skill set, which falls into any of this, is relevant to the AI team, and then internally talk to them and then see if there is an synergies and ensemble, and then if there is an opportunity for you to do some offline courses and then come closer to them, correct? Or if you're a non-IT, then you should think about all the AI implementations that you can do in your team. Let's say if you're in a wealth management team, right, or asset management team, correct? So, and then if you're a manager or a senior manager, or even a lead, right? I'm sure you're day in, day out, you're dealing with lots and lots of manual work and processes, which can be automated using the AI. So, and then here, using the course that I told, right, take that as a base and then go and explore yourself 1 level down, 2 levels down, how all these concepts will fall together, right? And then you suddenly can talk to the central AI team, and you can go to them with pipeline of use cases for you to implement, and do some offline courses as well. You can get into the governance and audit and if required, right? But the first one that I talked about is popular for a non-IT mid-career. Hope that addressed your question.
Yeah. So another question is suggestions of public forums or projects available in Singapore to contribute and season our expertise in AI and ML.
Okay. Just give me a moment. Let me see if I can go to SG Innovate website and then quickly show you what you can do. So ideally, I would suggest to go to the SG Innovate, and over there, right, there are a lot of practical. You can be part of a lot of practical use cases that they're trying to explore, right? And then you can also attend their events, which happens quite regularly. Let me see if I can share the screen. SG Innovate. Okay, good. So you can see the SG Innovate here, right? So in here you have SG Innovate's insights, which is very helpful, and most importantly, events, right? So in the events, this is a very good public forum where you could able to enroll some of the AI topics that you wanted to explore, and then you can gain the understanding of this. And then they also have a talent programs and other initiatives, right, to give you the practical implementation of AI. For example, they have this Infinity series and Summation series, right? It's an apprenticeship program to get familiarized in deep tech projects. Infinity series is an immersion program, on the other hand, to gain you understanding and to upskill you in the data analytics, product management, and UI UX design for the AI, etc. So I would recommend to explore this particular tool like this. And then there is also which one is that? AI Singapore site, aisingapore.org. So if you go in here, there are also a lot of programs and activities that you can take part in. So you also can see about the grants, and you can participate and learn AI from any of this. And last but not the least, obviously, you have your offline courses, etc. to leverage on.
Right. Question on similar lines. Are those grants are limited to citizens and PRs, or even that is eligible for foreigners? And some related sub question.
Yes. So the grants. Yes, I can help you address that, right? The grants are predominantly for the Singapore-based firm. So when I say Singapore-based firm, it's for the people, it's for the firms which are having controlling stake of the Singapore entity, correct? And if your entity is registered in Singapore, and then I think you'll be able to do it. And then don't again just think that if you should have your own firm, right? Let's say if you are working in a bank, or let's say if you're working in any organization, if you have a very good use case, but you don't have right funding internally, right? You go to your management, talk to them about the grant. Say that, hey, I have a right use case, and I'll take some external consultant help or external help, and then see how we can get the funding from these people. That's been popular as well. I've seen a lot of asset management insurance companies leverage the grant and build their own center of excellences, build their own AI use cases from MAS.
Thanks for that. So another question, I saw a few of your posts in social media on quantum computing. Will quantum computing become mainstream, and how quantum computing will help data science? So not sure we can take up now, or in quantum.
No, that's entirely a different topic. I'll tell you what, I think Telugu Samajam, after a few sessions, right, I'll approach Telugu Samajam to organize a separate event predominantly focused on quantum computing. But I think you can explore very high level. What I can tell you, they both go hand in hand. Quantum computing is all about probability and AI, right? So which is why AI is needed. And then to accelerate AI, you need faster machines. So quantum computing is needed. So they both go in hand, and you can connect with me. You can talk to me in LinkedIn. I can guide you some links, but otherwise I'm going to take a separate topics on these concepts. Sorry, Anil, I can't hear you. Can you
explain the correlation between AI and ML?
AI and ML. Voice is not clear.
And AI.
Machine learning and AI. Okay, so in a way, it looks both look simple, right? But how do I put it? So AI, whenever I talk about AI in general, it talks about deep learning. So meaning it's a mimicking of the human brain using the artificial neural networks. But machine learning is a general way to teach the machines to learn from the data and then become intelligent. So I would say artificial intelligence closely associated with deep learning, and then it's a subset of machine learning. Sorry, AI deep learning especially is a subset of machine learning. It mimics human brain using artificial neural networks.
There is another question. What are the prerequisites to learn data science, like Python, etc.? And also there is a sub question related to it, like do we need statistics? Basically, how statistics play a role in data science, and can we start a career without having no knowledge on stats? I mean, I'm combining these two questions.
Again, I go back to my career path, right? What do you want to become? If you want to become a simple citizen data scientist, and also you want to work in future with the data scientist and learn more, you can start with a low code AI, drag drop AI to start with. But even for that, I would suggest to have a basic knowledge on the statistics and basic knowledge of these development programs, right? Especially Python, to build some wrappers and then build some custom scripts. If it is a low code, and then if you want to go very light in your career. But if you want to, in 4 years, 5 years down the line, if you want to become a senior data scientist, you need to get into statistics. You need to get into how these neural networks are built. There are various concepts associated with that. You need to learn that in a deeper knowledge.
Slides 13 or 14, I noticed a new term MLOps. What is the difference between MLOps and ML? Is MLOps next big thing in data science?
No. So if I ask you what is the difference between sorry, hold on, give me a minute. So if you ask me what is the difference between web development and DevOps, it's the same, right? Both are complementing each other. Meaning, let's say, I think for everybody's benefit, let me flash the screen. You see here, right? If you want to build an ML learning solution, you need to connect to the data sources. You need to train the model, package the model, validate, deploy the model, right? And then let's say if everything that you're doing it manually here, correct? So with the human help, it doesn't make sense, right? You need to automate this entire flow. Just like how DevOps automates the entire web app development, testing, and deployment, right? Similarly, the machine learning or AI apps the training, packaging, and deploying will be automated using the AI ops. There are various solutions that are available in the market, right? For example, there is something called Databricks, and even AWS also has some studios, inbuilt studios, to automate all these tasks together. The way you automate the end-to-end flow is called AI ops or data ops or ML ops. So this is similar to DevOps in the web development. So of course, it's going to be the big thing. No enterprise wants to do these activities manually. So they want to automate this whole implementation.
Otherwise, I'm seeing people posting on the Zoom Q&A. Those won't be looking at it. So please post your questions on Slido only, because we are just reviewing the Slido questions only. For those who are retired, like 67 years and above, how do they switch to a career in data science?
I've seen people in US. So his name is Arvind from UK, right? This guy is retired, 55 years, 55 years, and he's retired. And what he's become is become an evangelist, social media evangelist, wherein he started sharing some of the nice concepts of the AI, started to gain very high level understanding of the AI. And then also with that knowledge, he used to help some of the young population, right? And then now he's got 50,000 plus followers, and he's about 57, 58 years of age. Evangelist is one of the very good opportunity. And if you are a wealthy, if you retired very wealthy, think about investing into some AI startups and then help young people or freshly out of the college, right? Especially data scientists. They can build their own companies, but they need funding and then guidance, right? So see if you can able to get into these small investments into them and then help them.
You can skip if you want. I'm just reading the question. I just applied for a business intelligence and data partnership position at Lazada. How can I boost my chances of getting an interview?
No, I wouldn't answer that question. Right?
Yeah.
Anything related to Lazada, I wouldn't answer. But in general, you need to have your own experience and skill set to to gain a job in any organization. And then in some of the organizations, it's not just tools; it's also cultural fit. Cultural fit is very important.
The best AI certifications, which most of the companies will prefer in Singapore.
Again, I wouldn't be biased on one particular certification, but I can guide you. I can provide you the solution. If you want to become a citizen data scientist, you need to focus on some of these cloud certifications provided by the cloud, right? Azure, for example, or AWS, GCPs, Ali Cloud. So there are courses built to help you become a data scientist, help you aware how these AI ops works. Correct? That's one way. Second, if you want to get into the governance, if you're a leader, and then if you want to drive AI in your company and all that, right? So there are other courses provided by very good US-based firms. For example, what is that? MIT courses, and Carnegie Mellon universities. They're all having some offline courses, right? To help you lead the data science operations and AI operations. I would recommend you that. So depending on how you want to become, these are the two popular paths available. And then also, NUS also has a program for a mid-career people who wants to get into the AI frameworks, AI governance implementations, AI operations, etc. Right? So you can also leverage some of these Singapore university courses which are there.
But it is about NLP freshers, tech side freshers. Do you recommend NLP certifications or computer vision certifications?
Again, I wouldn't be biased. See which one are you good at. Try both, right? And then go from there. But there is a very good scope for NLP for some companies, especially anything in company with the back office, right? Any industry, be you take it retail, hospitality, banking, all the back office operations includes documents. So the documents are text, correct? Unstructured text. It includes NLP. On the other hand, if you get into the niche sectors, right? For example, health promotion boards or healthcare companies, where you need to analyze lots and lots of images and then take a decision. So they use computer vision. But all these back offices, they predominantly rely on NLP solutions to automate their functions. So depending on where you want to fit into, I think you need to try both and then get into the career that is most appropriate.
Seems to be equal opportunities. We just get our interest where we want to go in. Okay, next question. I'm doing diploma in data science to start my career as data scientist. Can you please suggest me on what to learn the most? I think it is answered already.
Yeah, exactly. Focus on not just if you're doing the diploma in data science, right? Anyway, they'll teach you all the Python programming language, end-to-end implementation, statistical concepts, and everything. Focus a little bit on the governance part of it, ethics, governance, the frameworks part of it. They will not teach you in the college. It's available in, for example, if you go to MAS, there is AIDA frameworks. Similarly, IMDA has AI governance frameworks. Keep a knowledge on these topics as well. I think if you start your career, you need to look at the AI holistically, not just development, but also from an ethical and governance standpoint.
As a desktop support engineer, if I want to switch over to AI technologies related jobs, is there a basic AI course to complete to know the basics?
Again, there are lots and lots of courses online. If you're a desktop support engineer, you can think about you can slowly see how you can support AI operations. Once the model is live and deployed, right? So you need people who need to support them. You can still think about getting into there internally if possible in your company, if there is one. Otherwise, same, use these cloud-based technologies, the courses which are in there, become a citizen data science developer, and then gain a job in the AI and work with the senior data scientist and then build your career in there. If you're already in mid-career, let's say 6 years, 7 years into the desktop support, think about how do you get into the AI infrastructure team, see how you can support the AI ops and AI monitoring management, etc.
as a HR now. So what he or she need to do to her or his chances to start career as a in Singapore.
Sorry, what is that? Can you come
HR,
again?
basically currently working as a HR.
HR, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then they want to get into the data science, right? Simple. Again, I go with the non-IT mid-career or a fresher path, right? There are a lot of opportunities that you can do to automate in HR. The resume analytics example that I shown is a tip of iceberg. But imagine you can build all the insights about your HR operations, right? That AI can do. For example, if there is a way you can predict the attritions, predict how many people can join, so on and so forth. Right? There are various use cases that are available, and then even simple analytics that you can do with the HR data is humongous. Think about exploring these use cases, and then talk to a AI team, and then promote AI in your HR operations.
In AI, cloud computing, data science, and AI. After course completion, what roles I can apply to, and do I need to pick up on Python?
Same thing. I answered this question before. There is no single tool or technologies, right? You need to see which one you want to get into. And then if you're taking the course already, I think they would guide you some of these tools and technologies that you need to use. Any online course that I usually see, right? They teach you Python, Jupyter notebooks, how to use them, and then some basics of Python programming, how to call the APIs, how to read the data sets using data frames and build the charts. These are common. On top of that, all these are now being done by a low-code tools, right? The one that I built on my own is also a low-code tool, very simple one, but there are powerful ones that are available in the market. For example, Databricks. There is also something called H2O AI. Explore these kind of a tools. It's slightly more powerful, and then you can get the essence of how the AI can be used in a practical world.
Different sectors are coming up. Actual questions are related to like they are part of semiconductor in the industry or business analyst in capital markets domain. What opportunities they can find, etc. So
you can refer to the chart. Yes, the chart is pretty clear there. Even on top of that, it's something that doesn't fit in. It's not working your way. You have my LinkedIn contact, right? LinkedIn profile. Just ping me over there, and then I can provide you the career guidance.
okay. A few people are asking slides. You answered that anyway. Could you please share your view on some? Yeah. Could you please share your views on some of the old technologies like SAS for data analytics will be sustained or better to switch to data science?
No. I wouldn't recommend. It doesn't. So the old data analytics still will be prominent. As I said, right, 30 to 40% of the use cases can be simply solved with the data that you have in the hand without building the AI ML solutions. That's one of the popular mistake companies do, right? Just for the sake of it, you cannot get into the AI. Try to solve it using the data analytics, and then if it doesn't solve there, if you need to predict something and if you need to prevent something, then only get into the AI. And then being a data analytics person, and then if you know SAS, right, you also know SAS has an AI module, correct? Which will even help you accelerate some of the AI implementations faster. Focus on that, learn the AI side of the SAS, and then see if you can try some practical use cases in your organization, simple ones first. And then you can even build a SAS-based AI development, integrated AI ops development module. It is also there. So you can take that way. Talk to even SAS people. They also have some courses for you to certifications and courses for you to provide you knowledge on the AI using SAS.
Please suggest me some basic courses to start for project managers to switch to non-IT AI roles, something on Coursera, etc.
No, I couldn't recommend a single course there, right? I'm not sure about it. There are various courses that are available. If I have something, a generic one, right, where anybody and everybody can get to, I wouldn't suggest Coursera or anything like that. There is a free online courses available from these US universities, even for the developers. For example, the one that I usually look at is MIT's AI course, UMBC AI course, Carnegie Mellon's AI course, because they touch quite a bit of statistics, quite a bit of AI and ML concepts and etc. and all that. Coursera and all, yeah, it will give you an overview, but just with the Coursera, I think you'll never be able to become a data scientist, right? So you still need these kind of a statistical knowledge, core understanding of the AI concepts.
In data scientist, you can just mention the range.
What is that again? A little more louder.
Yes, I mean, packages offering MSG for senior data scientist roles.
I wouldn't again how to address
Salary range actually.
salary again. I don't know. So you can go to the Glassdoor and then take a look. Senior data scientist depends again on the organizations. For example, right, remember the chart that I shown you, if you fall under the retail, your tourism, e-commerce, those kind of industries that use online apps and e-commerce apps, right? They need lots and lots of data scientists. As I said, for them, AI is not an optional. AI is fuels everything, right? Their business model. Such companies pay a higher package. I was talking about 100 to 120K SGD in Singapore, correct? But let's say if you go to the bank, they have their own particular centralized team. And then, as I said, it's heavily regulated. The kind of AI use cases they're trying is very, very simple. And then I'm not talking about the digital banking, right? The other banking operations, maybe they'll be paid a little lesser, about 80 to 90K and all that. Again, it's my opinion. You can always go to the Glassdoor and refer. That's the best way to do it.
Or data science is a good option for mid-career IT professionals.
Sorry, what is that? Is data science a good career option for me?
Postgraduate. Is postgraduate and data science a good option for mid-career IT professionals?
It depends on which position are you in, right? For example, if you want to be a tech savvy, if you want to catch the AI wave, and if you're very, very keen, motivated to get into that, yes, it might be a good career for you. But even without moving to the AI, right? If you're in a mid-career and some of the other emerging technologies in the IT, right? For example, if you're a DevOps engineer or how do I put it, a full stack developer, etc., right? You're already doing good. So I wouldn't risk changing the career in here. Only if you're not comfortable and if you're really, really keen in entering the AI wave, please do so. Similarly with your domain as well, right? If you are a fund manager or asset management lead or something like that, or a banking lead, if you're already good in your career, if you're already doing good, doesn't make sense again just to, for the sake of it, switch the careers. I would go by your motivation levels and the opportunities within your sector and within your company to take a decision. Please be mindful, just for the sake of it, you shouldn't switch the AI careers.
Whatever the questions we have, we are answering all the questions actually. So thank you very much, Vinay, for covering a lot of insights and jargons about data science, artificial intelligence, and what we need to have to start our career and how we can switch over to different parts of data science and what data science play a role and how AI, future about the AI and career prospects for different aspirants, basically what are the opportunities we have, etc. And also you covered the platforms where we can build our skills, etc. Definitely it is a good start for interested participants who would like to get into career opportunities in data science. I appreciate your time, Vinay, and all your efforts for taking up this session. Besides that, you put a lot of things in the presentation as well, so it is very solid presentation. Thanks for all your efforts. Vinay is an international speaker, has great passion towards enabling and mentoring young data and AI engineers and scientists. He is actively coaching such young talent across many universities in Singapore, India, China, and Malaysia. Also, he has great interest towards niche emerging technologies like quantum computing, etc., where we will be organizing quantum computing session as well for STS and other participants who are based in Singapore. And also, it is not limited to one community, etc. It is open for everyone basically. all these STS Connects programs are open for everyone, basically, regardless of their race or religion, etc. So try to encourage people to join these sessions. I mean, when we see more participation from the participants, it gives a motivation to graduate those sessions, basically. So I take this chance to thank STS management, President Pudredi Garu, and other committee members who supported this session. Furthermore, I would like to place my heartfelt thanks to all executive committee members and collaborating organizations and volunteers because of whom we made this meeting possible. Last but not least, thanks everyone for attending our session today on data science and career opportunities. And it is, I mean, we are really happy to conduct more sessions, and we will be coming up with another interesting session on February 5th. And we will be sharing all all the details in due course. Try to encourage others also to join these future sessions, and we will be creating a WhatsApp group to collaborate with everyone, and also when I will be able to coach us to build our careers in data science. So I will be sending a mail later on behalf of STS, so with relevant details and also some content of the presentation, which can be used by you guys. So, Koti Garu, anything you would like to share?
And no, Anil, and is everything is covered. Thank you very much for everyone, and looking forward to next sessions and your all participation. As requested by me and Anil, please help to share this STS Connects program with all your friends and family members. So it is not limited to any one community, but it is for everyone. So we want to really connect the people with the technology. So that is the back of in our mind. So please help share this STS Connects program with everyone. Thank you very much. And thanks once again, Vinay, for your insightful session today. I really myself actually learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I think, Anil, you want to have a on group picture? I think many people just left actually.
I think if they can stay, maybe Jyoti, can you also enable few guys? I mean, basically, we can accommodate everyone. Let us have a group picture. I'm just promoting everyone. When you get a request, try to join back as a panelist. All of you will be getting a request from us. Please try to accept on your screen.
If you can switch on your camera, then it would be great, so we can have a good group picture.
Yeah, please accept the request. We have invited everyone almost.
When they accept, then only we can see them.
So dress doesn't matter. We understand it is Saturday morning, so that is fine.
Early Saturday.
Yeah.
Please raise your hands if you didn't get any request from us, so that we will know if we have missed anyone.
I can see some young crowd as well in the.
Yeah.
Very good. Hopefully they gain something out of the session.
Yeah.
Please, especially the young population, right? If you have any questions, connect me over my LinkedIn. I'm happy to guide you with your career and Happy
Yeah,
to address AI questions and give some interesting link for you to look at that.
yeah. Srijan, do you have any question? No?
More than half of were left actually, but still I'm able to take a session with all the guys whoever are present at this moment.
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
people.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Vinay and STS, for the great presentation. This is very insightful. Thank you.